All right, that should be posted to the Discord now, and we should be live streaming. We'll go ahead and do our intros and all that stuff here and let the timer count down, then I'll give the players the go-ahead. I believe they're both going to be ready here in about 10 minutes or so. Welcome to the 2025 Rogue Tournament Finals. It's going to be with just Boris and Ornable. And let's see how we got here. Let me get over to the right tab here. And I apologize for any kind of audio or visual issues on this one. Not at my normal setup. I'm here at Gen Con, so this might come through a little echoey or a little bit different than normal, but we're just going to roll with it. I do have a guest commentary with me today. We got a commentator here. This is Mayor Gills. If you want to say a few words of hello.
Hey, hello. I think that's almost a few.
Yeah,
I guess it's more like a couple.
Yeah. All right, so he's going to be helping me commentate on these games today.
Yep. Should be fun. This has been a pretty high-octane tournament, it seems, especially in the Sweet 16. Been a lot of good games.
Yeah, I only got to catch the semifinals and then the finals here, but yeah, it's good to see this many games going on. Looks like maybe my video input's a little bit off center. Let me see if I can fix that while our timer is going down here. This is usually on my other monitor, so that's probably why it's coming in like this. See if I can fix this. Nobody wants to stare at half of a board for an hour and a half. Hey guys in chat, there's going to be a little bit of a delay between what you guys type and when we see it, and that's just going to be for during commentating purposes. No one is intentionally watching the video and then using our wonderful advice to gain an edge. Of course, we might just throw out horrible advice, in which case, good luck. All right, that looks like the video will come in a little bit better now. Not quite centered or square, all that stuff is normal, but we'll roll with that. And then I put it on the wrong screen here, so get rid of that. All right, so a few minutes left. We'll let this count down. I'll give the players the go-ahead. Let's see, chat says, how's Gen Con going? It's going great. You can maybe hear my voice is a little bit gravelly. Been teaching TAC for the past couple days and trying to talk over a quite a large room full of people. So bear with my voice here, and if it gives out, I'll just have Mayor Gills take over for the whole thing. But yeah, they're currently doing the second of the two Swiss tournaments right now. I got them started, and then Orphan and Knock are taking over to kind of see the rest of the thing through. I might be back before it's over. These in-person tournaments tend to take a while because we run all the games at once. So not like on Play Attack where you can just play a couple matches and then go take a nap. It's match after match after match until it's all said and done. But it's a really good time. So Gen Con and then PAX Unplugged are the two events that the USTA goes to every year, and they're well worth it, at least in my opinion. Let people know the game is still alive. Direct them to the Discord so that they can become cult followers like all of us here.
I have a question about Gen Con. How many people seem to come from the Modern Rogue video that you caught there?
A couple people I've talked to have seen the Modern Rogue video, but that's not kind of why they came to Gen Con. And the way that Gen Con works these days, trying to get signed up and a hotel room and badges and everything last minute is pretty much a no go. It's like a 60,000 person event. Hotels being one of the main kind of bottlenecks there. So if you don't have all your stuff in order by you know May, which was I guess a little before the video came out, it's hard to get everything in line to come up here and do stuff.
Yeah, I
Uh,
guess that makes sense. I was wondering how many of the people that popped over and were like, hey, I know that game, were like, I know that game from Modern Rogue
yeah.
versus, hey, I used to read those books.
In chat, if you guys can let us know if the audio is coming through okay. Just like I said, not at my normal setup, and I'm trying to pull in Mayor Gills from Discord audio. So if you're getting an echo or one of us is too loud or not loud enough, let us know before we go live. That way we can, well, I mean, before we start the game, we're already live. And then we'll try and adjust some things on the fly, get things at least passingly acceptable here. And also, we got about a minute left while we're counting down. Let me kind of go over what these folks are playing for. So first place is going to get a pick of, or a pick between these nice metal capstones here by World Builders Market. These are metal. They feel great to play with. They've got a whole metal set if you're looking to drop a couple $100, but it is a joy to play with. So they can choose between that or this laser cut MDF travel set. And then so first place will get first pick between those. Second place will get second pick, or the leftover. And then anyone who made a good faith effort to play their games will be entered into a lottery drawing for a couple books, a couple of the copies of Mastering Tack Level 1, or some high level game reviews. So myself or someone else that will volunteer their time will go over your game. It doesn't have to be from the tournament, but it does need to be a game that you participated in as one of the players. They'll go over that game, kind of give you some tips and tricks to see where you can improve in that. And just a little bit more of how the players got here. Let me get back to the right tab. So these were, as Mirgills was saying earlier, a lot of action going on this tournament. I think 120 people signed up for this. They fought it out in the group stages and then went to single elimination in the Sweet 16. I want to say we had some matches go to blitz tie breaks as well. I'm not sure if that shows here or not. Um, but now we're all the way down to the finals between Boris and Ornable. Or it's just Boris. Didn't have too much time to make an icon, but the other night I did bring in Boris from Boris and Natasha for Boris, and then I tried to look up what Ornable was. Best I could find was it's a font, so I don't know what I would use for that besides the closest font that I could find to that. All right, and we're approaching 1 o'clock. So let me ping the participants here and tell them that it's time to go. All right, so it looks like we should be in frame and about ready to go. So we'll see when they pop up their game here, and we'll get to judging people. I mean, commentating.
Giving constructive feedback for when they watch later.
There you go. Yeah. And while we're waiting, just a quick note. This is brought to you by the U.S. Tax Association. So we're trying to do about an event every month, whether that's a tournament, a contest, some sort of casual event to get people come out to play, all that. And if you'd like to support TAC and the growth of TAC, you can become a member of the U.S. Tax Association, and all your money will go to keeping the playtac.com site free to play for everybody who has an internet connection. It goes for the hosting and development of that. It goes for any prizes that we give out at conventions or at these events that we hold, and then it helps keep things rolling, keep spreading the word. So if you're looking for a way to throw a little money towards TAC, then I would encourage you guys to look into that. Help support this and keep it growing.
And you get to do a sweet tournament for members.
Yep, there is a members only tournament that we do with special prizes. I think last time we were giving away some custom sets that I did, and then also some of the original USTA tournament sets, which have been retired, but we still have them. So we've been kind of giving those out as special prizes. A little bit of history there.
Oh, I see the game pop up in the watch game for me.
Alrighty. I'll be kind of tabbing back and forth between things because I just have one screen here in the hotel. So if there's a YouTube comment that you see, Mayor, that I forget, then if you'll respond to that, or if you guys don't want to talk or chat in YouTube, you can chat on the spectator chat in playtac.com, and we'll try and keep an eye on that. And these guys are blazing off to start here. So we got
Yep.
adjacent corners, and then looks like a center squabble. Just going for that center control, kind of a long knight looking formation here. We're gonna
I'm
have.
already out of my depth. I haven't seen this opening before.
I haven't either. This is a little bit off to one side for black. Usually you would see them kind of contesting the center a little bit more. Um, and then white aiming to kind of disconnect that stone that black just placed. And now we're getting a little more
And now this
traditional.
looks more familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a race to the other side. White, of course, is going to win that. So what black normally does is lay down as many stones as they can before that point, and then they'll pop a capstone up it in this orientation, like D5 or C5
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I'd look at D5 probably in this position, but even E5 works. D5.
So we have just Boris, or it's just Boris in white and Ornable in black for this game, and then they will swap colors next time. So white, instead of pushing that last stone for attack threat, looks like they've turned the corner, kind of pivoted to a more vertical. And I expect like crossing over at C2 here. Yep, that's what we see.
Yep.
So white is still maintaining their momentum right now. Black's going to need to do something to address that. Don't know how defensive they're feeling. They can start moving their capstone over to kind of get it more active in what white is building there. They could start adding a stone up at like B6, or even cutting down towards the other end of the road. They choose C1 at this point, and I would expect B1 as a response.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think if I'm black, I'd be worrying about C4 minus at some point.
Kind of stranding that capstone on D4 a little bit, isolating it just a little bit.
Keeping it away from the threat. And I don't know exactly what you do about that other than preemptively 2d4 left.
Right.
Interestingly, B1 was not played by either player, that move.
Yeah. So it looks like Boris kind of just pivoted back to the horizontal while still keeping that kind of vertical pressure. Because if black decides not to play, like if Boris does E2 here and black decides not to play E1, then he can
E1, then
always
you just play
take
E1,
E1.
yeah.
Or
And
he
that
can
would
just
come
say,
with a
yeah,
really strong two-way threat from C4 minus on the
right.
following move.
Now the black capstone can still reach D2. It does have to leave something behind. It has to leave white in control of D3, but it can be thrown down there. Um, can also be thrown
Interestingly,
over to B4.
E1, F2. So black can't really stop that connection from being made.
Right. So it looks
Decides to
like,
play on the other side of the board.
yep. So it looks like, if I had to guess, the intent is to, if white decides E1 or F2 here, then black captures over and makes their own attack threat. So B2 right.
Yep, that's what I was looking at too.
So I imagine that white's going to have just a little bit of a think on this turn here, because that is a bit of an odd move, and anytime your opponent makes an odd move and they're not just like a super beginner, then it helps to take a minute and be like, are they setting up something that I'm not seeing, or is this just a an odd move? And white does take E1.
Now we'll see how black responds. Do they do B2 right as we expected? We could see E2 minus, or E3 minus, sorry,
Right,
which would
E3
come with a
minus.
stronger threat later with D5 if uncontested.
Right, even D3 minus here makes a little bit of sense for you're opening up a weakness, but you're opening it up kind of right next to your capstone. So it's a little
Although
bit more protected.
SD3 following would be pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, it would be brutal. Okay,
Oh,
we see the
D5
threat from the
first.
other way.
I don't like this as much because now if B2 right, the capstone gets more power.
Right. So yeah, you would do E3 minus in this case.
I agree with that.
However, then the capstone can step over one more, and then you're kind of sunk.
Yeah, I really like White's position right now.
You
Although
can
it
tell
was
that.
an interesting position that we think D5 was a worse move than a capture move on the last one. So there you go.
Maybe we just said that to throw them off if they were listening. Yeah. And this is one of
E3
those
minus
things
comes.
you can tell that these guys have made it to the finals of the beginner tournament. So it is called a beginner tournament, but at this stage of the game, they should probably be treated more like intermediate players, because I mean, this is good tack right here. You're responding to a threat with a threat, and that's one of the things that really comes with kind of experience and practice is being able to make your offensive moves defensive and your defensive moves offensive, because you only get one move per turn. You have to make it count,
And that was the first flat on flat capture of the game on move 12.
which is also good hygiene. Okay, neither player has tack this turn, so now it's time to uh, look at the board state and say, am I in a lot of trouble or do I keep building? And in White's case, they
Yeah,
should just keep building.
I was gonna say neither player had tack next turn either. They were
Yeah,
both at least 2 moves away
yeah.
from tack. So
And that's another important thing is being able to cut down your opponent's threat by more than one tempo. Give yourself a
I
little bit of
wonder
room to breathe.
when is the B5 square gonna be filled and which player is gonna get it?
C5, you mean?
No, I mean B5 or sorry, B6.
Oh, B6. Okay.
Because black has an avenue up at the top right now that's currently open. But white wants that square for their vertical.
I would almost think that Boris is either going to march up that E file or do something like A4 here.
E5 looks better, doesn't it? Or A5 than A4.
It's not in line with the capstone. Yeah. Okay. Choosing the other direction.
F3 first.
And now, if I'm black, I'm looking at C4, capturing that in some way, probably with the capstone
Playing
stack.
C5 first, or with the capstone. Yeah. I would say C5 so that when you capture it, it
It's
keeps your
tacked.
line continuous. Instead plays B1. I don't know about that move. That seems like it doesn't do enough in this position.
It offers a similar tack threat if you do move that capstone stack over, but yeah, it just doesn't. It's kind of far away from the action, I guess, is how I would think about it.
Yeah. It doesn't really cut off any of white's ability to make a threat. And it does increase your threat's potential, but not by as much as probably just playing C5 or 2d4 left, which are both closer to where the actual crux of the position seems to be right now for black.
Black does have this double stack on E2, which, or not a double stack of their color, but they could make a sneaky threat at some point. So just something that, as white, you need to kind of keep an eye on, or as any as playing any side, you need to be aware of what your sneaky threats are and what your opponent's sneaky threats are, just because the majority of tech games end in a missed road threat. So learning to spot those and kind of preemptively planning for what you would do in that case can be a very, very important thing to have in your pocket.
And B1 doesn't particularly help that either, I don't think, because it's strengthening that side, the same side as the sneaky part of the threat, rather than making the other side more contiguous.
Right. Both players doing okay on time. Boris taking a little bit of time on this, probably thinking how he wants to make a threat this turn. Or even if he
Now,
wants to
if
make a threat this turn.
now if you're white, do you start thinking about C4 minus again? because we keep talking about how black wants to get that vertical threat, and c4 minus seems to cut that off pretty well, and you have your capstone right there.
Potentially, it is protected. I'm gonna guess that he's gonna place this turn.
I
Um,
agree, but that's a move I'm looking at.
I
Maybe
mean,
not for this turn, but
yeah, I don't even hate something like A3 this turn. Um,
yeah.
it's not it's not a threat, but it is building up to a stronger threat in the future.
Or even a5, b6, making that connection to a edge up there,
Mm-hmm.
an edge. A2, that
Okay.
seems reasonable as well.
And now we're going to either see the capstone move over, or I'd expect C5, just a placement here. And then because of A2, now B4 minus is a threat.
Hmm. I think I liked a3 better there because then c4 minus would have been a threat as well as b4 minus,
Mm-hmm.
but
And I would expect, well, I was going to say I would expect Ornable to spend a decent amount of time on that turn, but I think they may have a plan in mind, or
a3 isn't a bad move, but I don't know exactly what it does. It like connects you to another edge. But you need to place e6 before you have a horizontal through it.
and both are cut off at the C3 square as well,
Yeah.
which either C4 minus or 3D3 left take care of, or I guess even C2 plus.
And normally we would like double threats quite a bit, which is seems like what he was setting up for. But the best place to cut off the threat, even if it was in one direction, was the same place that it would be cut off to for the two directional threat. So food for thought.
Okay.
Now we see black start to play along the top.
Right. So those two moves right there, I would I would consider passing moves, even this one.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not sure.
Black's capstone is almost pinned. It's not yet, but
A4,
a4,
A5.
a5.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that white took C5 so that black could not have that easy threat with it.
Yeah.
But it does build a citadel on the board, but it's not.
Okay, we see
We see a
Black's
threat now.
capstone
Yeah.
move. Yep, this is a threat. Does White just move capstone over, keep opposition? Do we see the b4 minus threat first?
So in my brain, I'm looking at this board and I'm going, there are too many stones on this board, too many spaces filled. So I would look to start a fight to kind of collapse something a little bit here.
Because if b4 minus, a3 right, 3d3 left threatening the stack looks okay for White, I think.
Right? Because black can run away, but they can't run away with a threat.
And then that just leaves liabilities on the board for later, hopefully. But Black has weaseled their way back into this game.
I'd agree. Yeah. I would kind. I would kind of like to keep the capstones in opposition on this in this in this state. So is white. I'm eyeing 3d3 left.
I'm just wondering if b4 minus first, because then you'll get 3d3 left later in basically every line.
Right. There are other lines like a2 right.
Yes, a2 right is a threat immediately as well.
However, it's fairly easily defended upon. Ooh, here it is. A2 right, and then whatever black does, you go a4 or a5, and that's a double threat, and a sneaky double threat at that. Nope,
But I suppose
it's a
no, I
single.
don't
It's
see
a
it.
single threat. Okay, I was thinking that the d3 had a white underneath it somewhere, but it is
Yeah,
not.
no.
It's only black.
I mean, it's still a threat if you play a4 or a5, and it is kind of sneaky. And black doesn't have a threat this move. I guess they do if they play d4, would be a sneaky threat for black.
They would lose though because then just a2.
Of course. Now, do we see a4 or a5?
We could. I mean, we could even see something like, yeah, I was
Nope,
saying the
that's a
E
threat
file.
too. Yeah, e6 makes sense as well. Oh, also, I missed Torinku in chat wanted to ask, uh, how do you generally decide when to place an anchor versus placing for control of the center?
Um, I would say it kind of depends on what your opponent is doing. You want to have some relevance to where they are on the board and what their plans are. But I mean, you need both, right, to win the game, or for a road, not necessarily to win the game, but you need both the center, or all along one edge. You need anchors, and you need the center. Um, I would say playing an anchor, you need to be sure that your opponent can't just sever that line and leave your anchor out there just adrift. So if you can make an anchor where you already have control and make the threats at the other side of the road, then you'll be better than if you make an anchor that's easily cut off by your opponent.
I would say an anchor is often more of a setup move that does less to be proactive against what your opponent's doing. And you obviously need them, but you place them more when you have time. And here you go. Boris is placing an anchoring move. It is a threat. If it's seen, though, it's not hard to stop, I don't think. Just like c6 minus is pretty devastating against the threat.
Yeah, I'm looking at d5 left. That makes a double threat.
Same idea, yeah, same idea. Both make a double threat, but
Yeah, yeah, both make a double threat, and both are actually responded to in pretty much the same manner.
we c6 minus, which
Yep.
is more of a staircase, which is why I looked at it first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Boris is in trouble here, actually.
That B2 stack is going to rear its ugly head here in a minute, I feel.
How do you shut down this threat effectively, though? Hey, Will.
I would move the capstone stack over.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. But then 2 or 3B2 plus 1, 2.
And then either
Wall
SF6
F6.
or just F6.
Yeah.
F6 is
Hmm.
probably better because
Well, it's saying
you
a
do
lot
have
of
that
echo for
strong,
me.
a lot of echo with both our voices or just okay, just on. So it's probably picking up double from somewhere. I'm gonna cut your gain down just a little bit and see if that helps. Okay, so not going with that route. Um,
I mean, I'm not really in a small room, I don't think, but maybe that's part of it, is there's just reverb from the room.
it might be my mic picking up you as well as the Discord input from the audio settings. So
It's worse, apparently.
good. Tried to fix it and made it worse. That's how's that?
I don't know. How is it, Grappler?
Now we got to wait 20 seconds for it to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Also, Boris is taking quite a bit of time on this move, which I agree with. It's a difficult position. Oh, uh-oh. Apparently we had it better earlier.
Okay. I've disabled the Discord audio, so let's see if it's just good enough. Picking you up on my mic.
Who knows? But we see F6 played, which I think is reasonable.
Yeah, target that E6 stack. It doesn't stop Black's incoming threat, but at least it gives you some options later.
And it sets up your own threat with F5 or F6 left. Once you get there, of course.
Yeah, so I'm kind of expecting D4 here.
Okay, apparently I'm just quiet now, which I can live with that.
Are you quiet but not echoey?
That's what Gruppler is saying.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just talk a little louder.
No, you can't have a physical solution to a electronic problem. All right, now it's going to be Ornable's turn to take a little bit of time on this.
Yep. Yeah, I was looking at that spread because white can't just come down with the capstone or over. It's kind of pinned in two directions. And you can't place a wall in d4.
Right, so now they've got to disrupt their own threat to deal with this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at like e3 left.
Might be one of
I
the
mean,
only
e5 left,
responses.
b5 right, both aren't as effective. Yeah, e3 left is the only effective move, I think. But still, that doesn't look great. Because, I mean, f2 even doesn't look bad for black. I don't know if it's the best move yet, but Ornable says so.
Yeah. So the problem with spreading that stack over is that now you've got these liabilities on the board. You didn't secure Tenu with your move, so you
Now the capstone can come down, yeah.
do have a little bit of breathing room to kind of reinvigorate your position here.
I wonder if there was a move that better prepared that spread instead of just spreading immediately on 23.
Yeah, it's hard to say
Oh,
because
that's a missed road.
oh no, that's a shame.
That is a shame.
But it does happen quite a bit in TAC. All right, let me check in with the players and see if they want to take a break or if they're going directly into the other one. All right, I believe they're going straight into the next, so we'll wait for that to pop up here. I'll get a little bit of water.
I'm just kind of clicking through the last game, seeing where it all went wrong.
So White did seem to have a pretty good, comfortable position there, and then no longer. Okay, this one we're starting out opposite corners, and the knight's opening, and black responding with kind of blockading e2, kind of making white go the other direction, or else start, interrupting their straight vertical that they would have had.
This is Abyss's normal defense against the knights, right?
I believe he's used it. Yeah, e2 is pretty commonly used either on the first or second or third, fourth turns to kind of corral white a little bit.
Yeah, I was just noticing the because e3 is probably more commonly played, but I remember e2 being an Abyss favorite.
Now c4 I don't think is a normal. Usually a capstone would come out or something like that, giving white less leeway here, I guess, because white can
Yeah,
just kind
white
of
kind
snake
of still
around.
has a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if you could have even just played CD3 there as white.
Yeah, you probably could. I think as
Just
white
say, hey, this
and
is where I am
yeah,
and I'm not moving.
I think as white in that position, I mean, you're pretty comfortable. So Okay, well, we see C3.
Yep. I think it's the same idea, but that capstone is a little less well positioned, but it's just saying, hey, this is where I am and I'm not moving. Because it doesn't really have anything it's protecting against other than like an eventual one and two horizontal threat, I suppose. But you still have momentum right now as white. So you probably play like B3 or F4.
Okay, now we see the black capstone coming into
Now
play.
we see black capstone. And this is part of the reason I think CD3 would have been better because E3 left looks pretty dangerous.
Yeah, this is going back to the that question we had not long ago. You know, an anchor versus central control. That anchor on F4 is a little bit out there compared to where you were, as you were saying, you're staking your claim kind of in the C B area, and then you put an anchor on F4, and then all of a sudden that stuff is way away from where your capstone is.
Mhm. C5 looks reasonable as a response, but I
Yeah,
think both capstones are going to be a little away from the action if it goes to a horizontal along the top, but black's is closer.
I think here I would just do D5.
As black, yeah, D5 looks like the sensible response. You could also play F2, I think. Not played, but
And now white can just force the issue with A3 if they want.
A3, C4 right.
I want to say that white's a little bit awkwardly placed right now.
I
As I was
agree
saying
with that
earlier
assessment. Yeah.
with the F4, they're a little bit lopsided. If you look at the board, I don't know if that's a an eval measurement that anyone uses, but I'm gonna try it out. A little lopsided.
Well, most of your stones are away from where your capstone is,
Yeah,
and that's a pretty easy thing to spot. Because that's just looking at the board and seeing kind of center of masses of things rather than actual patterns.
right.
We see B1 placed, which I think is preemptive. I think F2 would be better to place earlier, or even C1 would have been better to also make strengthen the vertical.
Yeah, because white's gonna lose a lot of their momentum if they make that threat. So let's say they place A3 or A4 here, and then white or sorry, black does C4 right. Then all of a sudden they're multiple turns away from another threat, and then black has this gnarly stuff brewing at the bottom.
But I think that gnarly threat would have been better if C1 had been played than B1,
Since you can go vertically as well,
since C4 right would come with tack.
right?
White could also preemptively C5 minus or C3 plus.
Okay, we see a
I
wall,
guess
so
that makes sense.
a little scared of what was incoming, which I mean you can't blame them.
No.
So here, would you go ahead and just make the threat just F2? force white to do something.
Probably. Or you could play D1 first, but now A2 is still tack. And because C1 is a wall, white doesn't really have a vertical threat
Right, it
at
would
all.
take them a little bit to get to one.
And their horizontal is pretty, I don't want to say cut off because it's not quite cut off, but like it's a little scattered and well defended at the top. And the capstone's now even further from it. So unless we see something like C2 left, I don't see a white vertical threat coming particularly soon.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I see black just doing something like, well, they infill there. I guess that kind of makes sense, but I was thinking they were going to try to go ahead and expand their threat, with like D6 there.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking more up at D6, even like E5, B5 before white gets it.
Because now they are losing that kind of vertical race, which we were just saying that they weren't losing. Amazing how much things change in a turn, right?
Yeah, because if white gets B6, 2C2 left doesn't look that bad.
Okay.
Black playing D6,
Yeah.
sure. White almost certainly makes a threat on this turn, do they not? No, I guess not.
Need to decide how they're going to do it.
Because the threat is just defended by a C4 right anyways, no matter what they do.
Unless they
They
throw the
do it
caps,
anyways.
unless they throw the capstone up to C4, but then that leaves a mess, I think.
Yeah. This is still a mess though. C5 right is the only sensible move to defend. Black is in a really strong position, I think, still.
Yeah, we'll see if they can convert it here in a little bit.
Because we saw Boris was in a very strong position last game too,
Yeah.
but didn't manage to convert.
Okay, we do see
Do you
C5,
just
right?
infill or do you wall?
Probably C5. Yeah, I just
There's no Comey, so forcing white to have already played a wall is good for black.
because if
Of course, it
you
might not get that far, but
yeah, if you place a flat, you're immediately kind of threatening a very strong vertical threat the following turn, so it has to be answered with something. If you do a wall, you're adding one extra turn to that to capture and then reveal.
yep. And also, there's not enough white stones around anyways to throw that wall over onto to or spread to actually recoup anything from a flat perspective.
Right.
We do see C5 as expected.
And
Does white
now,
wall C4?
yeah, now we get to see how scared white is of this threat. And if they do wall C4, then you just play C6 and it pins that wall. No, it doesn't. I'm still thinking they have something on D1, E1, or F1. They haven't done that yet.
Nope.
And both players pretty equal on time. We're still above the 10-minute mark. So they do have a little bit of leeway to think here.
walling c4 just looks kind of awful for white, but I don't know what else you do.
Right? If they,
That looks
hmm,
bad. Because then c5 right still comes with tack, d1 plus followed by e3, then e4 minus, but the capstone then gets a.
yeah, these positions are hard because this is not Tenyu, or at least it doesn't look like it. And so committing to that almost Tenyu line, you got to see if it's going to be worth it once everything shakes out. Because I don't think that black can make Tenyu this turn
No, it doesn't look like it, but I still think it's correct to do that
to make
because
that
then
threat. I mean, then
d2
you
plus is the only sensible move here.
you you um you disrupt what white had going on because they've got to scramble to defend against all this.
Because d2 again, d2 plus e3, e4 minus 2d3 right looks decent for black, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe sd3. That's a lot of walls for white though.
Makes you feel good as black if you can, because none of those white walls have any captives under them or any captives in range. So I mean that makes you feel a little more comfortable with your station in life there.
Yeah. Well, and the d1 wall is doing almost nothing because in the same exact line you could have just done c2 right or 2c2 right to cut off in the same way. I mean, I guess you're worried about infill, but here we have to see e3.
I would think, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It keeps that horizontal up, it keeps your vertical pressure going, that threat. And then the real question is, what is black going to do once this shakes out?
This is the exact line I was thinking about. Do you take that with your capstone now, or do you just play a flat at e4?
Yeah, I mean, you have the time. You can just flat e4. You're not really under attack at the moment.
Flat e4, wall e5.
So yeah, one question is how much time, how many pieces can you get rid of before white can kind of come up with their own nobles on the board, their own walls to capture that d5. So you could just place e4 here, and then they wall se5 or something like that, and then you get another stone out on the board. And then they capture, and then you might even be able to make a threat at that point. So I mean, you can get rid of two, possibly three reserves before they can kind of mobilize that wall. And then even then, Black's capstone is not pinned yet. So
Yeah, I think that the line shouldn't have. It works because white played d1 wall, and you still end up ahead on flats after everything shakes loose.
yeah,
And also are ahead on reserves because you just kept placing through most of it.
right. So this is Tenyu next turn if White does not respond carefully. E2
Yep.
plus is Tenyu. So we could see that wall now.
Now the question is, do you wall row 5 or row 4? Like, is SC4 better than SE5?
It's less likely to run away, I guess. Like D5 can run, D4 cannot really run. Um, you can potentially pin that capstone.
We see SC5 though,
Yep.
which for some reason to my brain looks worse than SE5, but I can't explain why.
It may
I
have
don't
to
know.
do
It
with
just
what we
does.
were talking about earlier with the kind of the center of mass of the board and White's future plans.
Because it's funny, because SC4 looks much better than SE4, but I think SC5 looks worse than SE5. Whatever. I don't think it matters all that much.
Either way, they're targeting that line that Black had built. So,
Yeah. Does Black just place E4 anyways? I feel like that's the answer.
that's
And then you
probably
could
what I
even like
do is just
play E6 later, cause problems. Even if you're like making weak threats, it's still causing problems.
okay. Boris is probably going to eat up a little bit of time on this move here.
But white with three walls on board and black with none is a little bit of an indication of how this game is going, I feel.
Right.
Although notably, this is the first wall that has something to eat up. Yep, we just place E4, make a threat.
Yep.
C5, right? As expected. And I really do wonder if we just. I don't agree with E5. I think E6 was better there.
I even like just C4, just
Yeah,
filling
C4
in.
would have also been fine too. Now we see this.
So if this continues, just E6 would be, or continues playstyle wise, I guess E6 would be
Yeah,
the next.
obvious.
The other option is you move that capstone stack over to E3. Makes
Can you
the
just smash this?
You could just smash it. Yeah, you're not pinned.
I feel like smash is probably pretty good here, actually.
So smash, and then what does
What does
white?
white even
Yeah, what
do?
does white do? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like smash was the correct thing there.
It is the riskier thing though, and sometimes that's harder to pull the trigger on. So black can be like, oh well, I can come at that stack later on in the game.
And they kind of can. They can just go 2D3 right. Or just play B6, honestly. Uh, sure. Works
Yeah,
too, I suppose.
they had the flat count to be able to do that, um,
Yeah.
but does it gain them anything?
Tornku in chat saying 22 black play F3. I think F3 is worse. Um, I don't know that I have a great reason for it, but I think that part of it is the black horizontal has very few not much leg to stand on. Now we see black recouping some flats, We see white play b6.
White doesn't have a ton of other good prospects there, so if you play something like c5, you're giving that wall more to cover up later on in the game. You're not even making a threat with it. You're building a citadel, but
It's a citadel next to a wall with a flat under it,
right.
which is. Does black say white plays b6? Does black just play 3d5 minus?
Okay, going with
We
that.
don't see it, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's fine too.
Because even if white gets b6 or c5 here, it's not a threat. It's just they're working
Wait,
towards it, but it's not a threat yet.
wait. You know, it'd be a sick move. 2d3 plus 1 smash own wall. I don't know that it's actually good, but it would be sick if it's playable.
So this board state's a little bit of a mess right now.
Yeah, this is kind of wild to just figure out.
There's not really a clear path forward for either player.
For either player, yeah.
Yeah.
As black, do you just play b6? Anyways?
Yeah, I
Because if white
mean,
wants to make a threat, they have to play c5 then, which gives you the spread that you're looking for.
yeah,
And
you're
if
wanting to do that
d6
anyway.
left,
So
you could do the throw anyways. I don't know that I like that.
are they setting up a self smash here?
I guess so. I don't know what else you're doing with that move.
But it's not a attack threat to self smash, so you're only what, targeting e4? But even then, white has time to pin you from even crushing that.
Yeah, they just play f3. I think 2d5 minus was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, white now has threat potential. So b2 minus, I guess.
I still like 2c2 left as a threat.
What? I missed that. They played a5.
Yeah, white played a5 instead.
Okay. I was all in my head calculating how they were gonna make this vertical threat, and they played a5. Um. Hmm.
I
Okay.
think here you can still do 2c2 left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Be Good in chat saying, think black would have been better holding the wall uh, to defend the vertical threat. I agree with that. But it looks like black's idea was move the wall there so that white's wall can't run away. But I think
Two
2c2
two d
left
three
looks pretty good
over.
for white.
What does two d3 right gain black?
It's setting up the wall smash.
Well, yes, but what does the wall smash get them?
Attack threat?
Right, but after that. Because can't.
Oh, interesting. D1 is a great move. I was like, what is D1 doing? The idea is if smash 2D2 right with tack, stopping black's threat.
That is very nice. Yes, because then they can't re-smash that wall that comes down or play again. Can't do E3 or sorry F3.
They played D1 relatively quickly, and I was kind of wondering what it was doing, but if that's the idea, that's a great idea. Now the idea doesn't work because of F3.
Yeah.
The smash would be Tinue. Yeah. So now white has to do something.
Yeah. White needs to make a threat this turn. C1 left
Sure,
potentially,
C1 left looks fine.
or if you're worried about that black stack going somewhere, you move. You go ahead and move your D2 wall over. Yep. And this is kind
Yep.
of a weavy, windy threat, so I would expect it to be spotted, but I'm not 100% sure it will be.
Mm-hmm. And even if it is, what is the response? Just infill, I guess? Yeah, infill looks fine.
So yeah, I mean, you either do D2 or SD2 here, but that
I don't see a reason for SD2.
the thing is, white has to keep up this pressure.
Yeah, this is turning into a very tense game right now because both players are making very active threats. Even though not like 3 moves ago we were talking about how gummed up the board was.
Yeah. Okay, so they
Yeah,
do
we do
spot
see
it, and they
infill.
do see an infill.
Now, how does white respond? D3?
Um, Depends on how annoying they want to be. So you can start with C1 left,
True.
and then 2C2 right is targeting the D4 stack and making attack threat that can't be answered by that D4 stack moving very easily.
That's also true. But it doesn't really threaten the stack because of. No, no, it does. Okay.
Yeah, it almost doesn't work, but I think it just
Yeah, no,
barely
it
works.
works.
Okay, so instead we see a defensive move. I think white really had to keep up the pressure here.
Well, yes and no, because if black smashes, white can just either probably SE2 works now. I don't like the line as much, but it's not game ending immediately.
Not immediately, but giving black that powerful stack is very worrisome.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I like your 2C2 right move. I think it still works really well in this position.
Yeah, I think it's annoying and creative. So I'm, but they go with the just the placement threat,
Yeah, which is
which is
fine.
valid. Yep.
Does black play 3E3 minus and threaten the wall on F?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not attack threat currently, for either
But it's
player.
in line of two walls,
In line
which
of, yep.
is
So we have a fork
a
going
good place to
on.
be.
Um,
Although you can't
to
smash F2 because you lose.
right,
But I think you can still smash E4 as
yeah.
long as you leave nothing in E2. But then SE2 looks annoying. I don't know. This is a hard position to evaluate.
Oh, we see it. Now let's see what happens with it.
Yeah, because this is an annoying move to defend.
Well,
Although,
B2 or B1 plus works really well here.
yeah, B1 plus is a good move. Yeah, I was about to say that actually. I saw it as soon as I said, oh, there's no good moves.
Yeah, there's no good moves except for that annoying, really good move.
Yeah, I think infill's fine, but it looks worse
Yeah, it
because
makes
it's still
a
a attack threat.
yeah, it's still a threat. White can hop right back on that stack. Actually, it doesn't lose, right? B2 right makes an
I was
even
looking at
stronger
B2
attack threat.
right, yeah. Um, B3 right also works. Do we see something like A3 right here? This is getting testy.
We do.
Yep, we see A3 right. Now do we see B4 minus?
That looks the best. However, it activates that wall there, I think. But it gets white back in control for a minute.
I mean, C4 minus also works. But yeah, I like B4 minus better.
Okay.
Because now the wall comes over, then A3, B2. Any of those moves look good.
Okay. So the wall did come over. Uh, Now, do we see a placement or a spread?
I think A3 looks pretty nice right now. I don't think the spread gets you anywhere useful. B2. I was looking at that as well. I don't think they're ginormously different moves, but
So black needs to buy a turn. I'd like to buy a
like that.
turn. Yep.
That's why I think A3 was better. Um,
Time's
Not
getting a
really, I
little
guess.
low here.
Yeah, time is getting low.
Sun's going down, big guy. Let's see here. So after this exchange, where do we expect this to go?
B2 plus SC3. If not B2 plus, then what actually? Where is that B3 stack going?
Yeah, do you just ignore B3 plus and go smash a wall?
Oh yeah, do you just have time to smash right now? Huh.
Because E2 right, is that Tenu?
It might be.
Because it's threatening D4 as well as spreading up to F5.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks like Continue to me.
And you're no
So white
longer,
has to defend against that.
and
Wow.
B2 plus does not defend against it. However,
Nope.
it's the most natural move in this in this board state. Is yeah, capture that stack before it can do any more damage.
But I do think that that stack is not really going anywhere useful for black. So as long as white spots that quickly and then looks over at the other side of the board of, I was thinking about these wall smashes that were defended before. Are they still?
Okay, defends
And they
it
do
with the
see
wall.
something.
Okay, so now you have time. You D4. You just start making threats now.
Yeah, you
Burn
just
out those
start making
pieces.
threats.
What are we flat count wise? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So black is comfortable flat wise.
It's because black made white place a ton of walls.
Yeah. Okay, you still don't have to worry about your stack. So you can play E1.
I'm looking at 4C4 plus, preparing for smashing on E4 being Tinue.
Sorry, run that by me again. 4C4 plus.
4C4 plus. Clear the runway so that you have a bidirectional threat.
Gotcha. Okay, looks like black does move that stack out of the way so that they're not in danger of having captured. However, they lose the capture war anyway, so did that gain them anything?
I don't think so. That looks bad to me. I don't know that it matters, but it doesn't look right. Wait. Black can still smash F2 with tack horizontally this time.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with white doing whatever they're doing there. Now spread down, recapture. I don't know. This looks bad for black, but I don't know how much it matters. It
Right.
might just not be enough.
Because unfortunately, with the spread, you're not covering anything really with it.
Now the flat count is more even. Black will be up by one when they place. And white has a +2 move available. So the flat count is actually black draw, white win parity at the moment. But white has a ton of liabilities down in that bottom area.
And a couple more reserves to get through to be able to utilize it.
Yeah. I think black can just. No, they don't. I was going to say black could just bring the B5 wall down and just keep going. I was looking at 2B5 minus, 3B4 minus.
Yeah, they want to make sure they don't get caught by that
With a
capstone.
smash.
Yeah.
But a smash would have been. No, I guess it wouldn't have been. Okay, yeah,
they,
sure.
they never took E1 to kind of prevent that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
I don't
under a minute now.
I don't like that.
Oh, I don't either.
This
But
is not
they're under a
in
minute.
right. So we got Blitzbrain going on here now, which is unfortunate
Yep.
for everyone.
And if black wins, we'll keep being in Blitzbrain.
Yeah.
Now, with Ornable taking some time to think, as black, I'm looking at A6 minus as a move to defend. Just keep that in my back pocket. Okay. Now you don't have time. You have to go, go, go.
Right. I mean, I don't even necessarily like that move, but yeah, it's you had to do something, right?
Yeah, I don't like A2 either, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I still like Smash F2. I don't know that you can calculate it in time.
Ooh, I don't know that they had I don't know that they had the flats available to make that a wall choice instead of a flat.
It's probably fine because you're recapturing stuff. At least that would be the plan.
Okay, 30 seconds on the clock.
Because white doesn't have enough reserves to really be.
They can't end the game on their terms right now.
Yeah. So now A3 right, preparing 2B3 minus 1 2, or something.
Okay, pinning the cap first,
P1, pin the cap first, sure.
just to keep those shenanigans at bay. Okay, just time moves. You know what I mean?
Notably, black cannot place again until they're ahead on flats.
I mean, we have board fill, yeah, like now,
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying. Black's not going to be able to place again.
so the
They're behind 1.5
three B
flats.
three left. Oh, you don't have time for anything, so just recapture or place. We got a double spread here.
Smashing the wall wouldn't have worked, Johnny Be Good, because of board fill. I'm almost positive.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
white
the match.
ran out of flats.
Yep, the match goes to Ornable. That is wow.
That was a fun game.
I was not expecting a draw. I figured they would, but no time. No time to calculate these
Yeah,
very complicated in-game states with that going on. All right, I was expecting a blitz finish, but instead we got a really crazy in-game state there. Let's see what
yeah.
kind of questions we missed during all that stuff going on. I'm sure we got. So yeah, it looks like some analysis going on that I had it full screen. I wasn't in OBS looking at the YouTube comments, but that was great, and I appreciate Mayor Gills for coming out and offering some extra commentary, extra set of eyeballs on this great set of games here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you guys that came out to watch, and we'll have the winners pick what they want to go home with, or in this case, have shipped to them, and then we'll see you guys on the next one. The August beginner tournament registration is open now. It'll be open for a little bit more than a week. And so if you guys want to get some competitive tack in, just go on, sign up, and chance to win some great prizes and get in some good quality games. So thank you guys for coming out. Thanks again to Mayor Gills, and we'll see you guys around.
Yep, see ya.
All right, bye.